Everybody, welcome into Mining Stock Daily. This is Trevor Hall. We have a corporate update from one of our sponsors today. But before we get into my conversation with Mr. Mark Ashcroft of Aurelius Minerals, let's take a quick look at the numbers. Gold has made the rebound, has made up for all that losses made late last week. So in the last two trading days, it is back up to that even about 1834 futures basis. Silver also having a nice day today. That's in the green, up to $27.58 as I record. And the miners, per the GDX and the GDXJ, also kind of had to move up this morning as well. But since that move, basically flat on the day. Happy to welcome in, as I mentioned, Mr. Mark Ashcroft. And Mark, pleasure to have you back on the show. How have you been?
I've been great, Trev. Thanks very much for having me back. I enjoy spending a little bit of time with you and telling the story about Aurelius Minerals.
So there's a couple of parts of this story that you and I have been kind of talking about back and forth a little bit that we want to make sure that we continue to expand upon. Obviously, I am a shareholder of Aurelius, and one of the things that just kind of being an observer of this story and kind of seeing how the market reacts, other than these real positive drill results that you've put out over the last few weeks, but this is basically an extension of your current resource base you've already have on the project. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not being recognized as thoroughly as the market maybe should understand about the Aureus project. So, run down these numbers for us once again.
Sure. So I think it's important to realize that Aureus Gold is our Nova Scotia subsidiary. We have four assets within that. We have the Aureus East, which is a permitted mine and mill in the province. I don't think people recognize there's tangible value in that permit. There are historical resources on that project that we don't count in our current inventory. We are drilling there, and we will bring those current as we get more information. We do have about 53,000 ounces at 6.1 grams per ton of inferred in the inferred category on the Aureus West project. That's close to surface. When we did our most recent drill holes, you'll realize we tripled the depth of that existing mineralization. So we've got great upside potential there. We have 93,000 ounces at 5.9 grams per ton at our Tangier project. And then we've got 208,000 ounces of inferred at 7.1 grams per ton and 73,000 indicated ounces at 7.1 grams per ton at our Forest Hill project. So all told, we have in the neighborhood of 350,000 inferred ounces and 73,000 indicated ounces, within Nova Scotia already. Plus we're getting, plus we're drilling on the Aureus East project, which is permitted. So I think there's value there that we need to explain to the market.
What's the status on Aureus West? Is there a resource there? No, that was where your most recent drill results came from.
There is a resource at surface of about 53,200 ounces at 6.1 grams per ton inferred. So we've sort of been, we've been drilling around that. We've just completed 4,600 meters. We saw, very broad mineralization. We saw consistently see the high grade hits that, we've seen at the east, but, very broad mineral tenors. I think, off the top of my head, I think it was 114 meters of half a gram, which just tells you that there's mineralization just occurring throughout that hole. And I think the significance is this mineralization starts very close to surface. So that's really where I'm very comfortable saying, Atlantic Gold, which is owned by St. Barbara's Mines. I mean, I think that's where I have no qualms saying that's the model that we want to, we want to become. We've got mineralization, we've got resources, and now the opportunity is to develop enough resources that we can convert that into, a mining operation.
Okay, a couple key takeaways there. You did mention St. Barbara's operation. That's a permitted, obviously, mine. You mentioned that your Aureus East operation mill is permitted. But that's the only two permitted operations all of Nova Scotia, I believe. Is that correct?
Those are the only two permitted gold operations in Nova Scotia. I mean, at the Atlantic Gold operations, they produce somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000 ounces. So it's a pretty substantial It's a pretty substantial, operation. They have, three other assets that they're looking to, to permit and bring into production down the road. And so we've got, we're the only other permitted asset, in the province now at our Aureus East project, where we have about 2,500 meters of underground development. We got a 300 ton per day mill, but we need to prove up the mineral resources there before we would commit to to mining those any tons out of that project.
But the fact that you have that permit is really a, a very large de-risking part of this project.
There's tangible value in that
Yeah.
permit. I mean that permit is of value. I mean you don't just apply and get a permit, overnight. They are, they're quite, regimented procedures for that. So that's what I mean. I don't think the market recognizes the value of that permit. And I'm going to continue to market and tell the story and get the information out to people and to the investing public. That's something we're going to do.
Let's take a step back. I mean, that is really important information. Well, you and I will probably continue to chat about that in the future. But I do want to go back and talk about the latest drilling results that you did put out in late January, because we haven't chatted in a while. These came from the Aureus West project, half meter, 46.4 grams per ton within 2.5 meters of 13, just over 13 grams per ton. Obviously, you continue to find these mineralizations, and walk us through kind of what you're finding, and really how this continues to expand ounces in the ground.
Well, what we continue to find at both the east and the west is certainly horizons of the high grade intervals, which is really really relevant. Half a meter of 46 grams. But then we start to see that within much broader mineral horizons. In that whole one, we had the half a meter of 46 grams. That was within 2.5 meters of 13 grams per ton. But all of that was then within 114 and a half meters of a half gram per ton. And the point of that is that we're seeing expansive mineralization. In hole two, where we saw, 0.4 meters of almost 60 grams per ton. We saw there's 19 meters of 1.3 grams per ton, and then a further 34 meters of 31 meters of 1 gram. So we're seeing really broad mineralized tenors, and what that does is that gives you flexibility as you start to look to extract this stuff. And like I said, most of it starts at or just below surface. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting times. We've got a real opportunity here, I believe, to build quite a mineral resource that could be applicable. Could see surface mining and then conversion to underground mining as well.
One of the interesting things about that release that you put out was that when you typically have these core holes, you split half of it goes to the assay labs. But you did mention that you are finding similar coarse gold in both halves, obviously. So you have decided to, it sounds like you've decided to take that other half and get that assay as well. So could this improve even upon those original assays?
Well, part of what we've seen is so when you set up your quality assurance and quality control programs, when you saw the core, you only put the same half into the sample bags every time. So, you'll only be the right side or the left side. You don't cherry pick which one it is. And what we realized that in several instances, by doing that, the gold has stayed in the core box. So we expected to see, a pretty good gold assay, and we got something back that was quite a bit lower. And so when we went and investigated, we found that the visible gold was in the core box. So what we've elected to do is we're going to, take very intensive photography of the core, but we're going to sample the entire core to make sure that we don't miss any of these gold credits, because it does nothing for us if it remains in in the core box and doesn't give us an answer at the assay lab. So that's what we're doing. We did that on the east, and we found very significant increases, obviously, going from 1, 2, 3 grams to balancing and averaging the two, up to almost 30 grams. So very significant information, and that's what we're going to be doing going forward. And we did this with our QA/QC consultant. We actually brought someone in to help us investigate various reasons and how to best approach this. So it's best practices, and we're moving forward like that. Yes.
All right, Mark. Well, interesting. We'll see how that kind of pans out, and we'll be sure to report the latest news here from Aurelius here on the show. But short and sweet, my friend, thank you so much for joining us, and appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure, Trevor. And I encourage people, please go to aureliusminerals.com and click on the link that to ask for a meeting with management. We're happy to answer questions of shareholders or prospective shareholders. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Mark Ashcroft, Aurelius Minerals. Again, they trade on the TSX Venture with the symbol AUL. The information presented should not be considered investment advice. Mining Stock Daily and its affiliates are not responsible for any loss arising from any investment decision in connection with the material presented herein. Please do your own research or speak with a licensed financial representative before making any investment decision.